Welcome back to the 7th edition of NFL Weekly. I'm Nick Sonafani.
I'm Brenden Garula.
Brenden, let's hop right into the games, man.
We got the Patriots and Jets starting us off here. And Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts out there, only throwing for 86 yards and 4 interceptions. With Sam Darnold back, Le'Veon Bell's had more room to run, with 15 attempts and 70 yards, but still no points to count from because the Jets suck. Tom Brady, on the other hand, having another decent game, throwing for almost 250 yards, a touchdown, and an interception.
And almost 250 checkdowns.
Sonny Michel, the leading rusher for the New England Patriots, rushing 19 times, but only counting for 42 yards, but also getting in the end zone for 3 touchdowns. But Tom Brady's favorite receiver, James White, because all he does is check down. 7 receptions and 59 yards. The Patriots remain undefeated, thank you to their wonderful defense. 33-0. Jets. Sucks.
Let's just be straight up. The Falcons suck. 1-6. Matt Ryan, hurt. Matt Schaub, GOAT. 6 for 6, 65 yards and a touchdown. I don't care that they lost by 27. This dude's the future. Johnny Hekker continues to be the greatest throwing punter of all time. I swear he completes every pass he throws. 1 for 1, 23 yards. Jared Goff, decent, 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. Robert Woods finally doing something for my fantasy team, 5 receptions and 80 yards. Other than that, not too much to say. Rams take this one, go to 4-3.
Next, we head to New York as the Giants take on the Cardinals. Daniel Jones, he's slowing down a lot. 223 yards, touchdown, and interception. Saquon back once again, 18 attempts, 72 yards, and a touchdown. Kyler Murray, nothing to count for through the air, 104 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. But Chase Edmonds, my bad, 27 attempts, 126 yards, and 3 touchdowns, coming in for David Johnson's injury. The Cardinals take this one to get 3 in a row, 27-21.
Let's just be straight up. This was by far the worst game I've ever watched in my football life. Straight up slip and slide all over the field between the Niners and the Redskins. Absolutely nothing could get going on either side for the quarterbacks. Running backs, not either. There's absolutely nothing that happened in this game. It was probably the worst game I've ever watched. What? Oh, hold on. Aside from Cameron Bourne, who had an amazing game, hauling in 3 receptions for 69 yards.
Nice.
Classic. Niners take this one 9-0 to stay undefeated.
Let's just start this one out by saying Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady. He doesn't just check the ball down. He's much better than Tom Brady. He threw for 430 yards and 5 touchdowns. Also, he had a rushing touchdown. That's a total of 6 touchdowns. Tom Brady has never done that. He is the worst quarterback ever. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is Tom Brady's go-to wide receiver. Like, who is that? He hauled in 2 receptions for 133 yards and a touchdown. On the Raiders side of things, Derek Carr not having a bad game, throwing for 293 yards and 2 touchdowns, but also throwing a pick. Josh Jacobs having a Rookie of the Year-like season, rushing 21 times and 124 yards. Darren Waller, a legend, 7 receptions, 126 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's still not enough to beat the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers. 42-24, Packers take this one at home.
Let's head out to Indy, where the Colts are taking on the Texans. Jacoby Brissett with a big day, throwing for 326 yards and 4 touchdowns, 2 of those going to Zach Pascal. Like, who is Zach Pascal? I swear the Texans find someone to not cover every single week. Now, Pascal, he's not too great in the passing game. I don't know what he threw, but he went 0 for 1. Nothing really got going on the rushing end for either of these teams. Hopkins and Stills both had nice games for the Texans, but the Colts take this one and go to 4-2.
Next, we head to Buffalo as the Bills take on the Dolphins, and the Dolphins had the first lead of the season for over a possession. That's insane. It's week 7. They suck. Josh Allen throwing for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. John Brown hauling in 5 receptions, 83 yards and a touchdown. The Dolphins still suck. Ryan Fitzpatrick, once again the starter, throwing for 282 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And the Dolphins still remain winless. Bills take this one 31-21.
How about Zach Taylor and these Bengals? Andy Dalton, fantastic game. 22 of 43, throwing for 276 yards and 3 interceptions. Nice. He's getting accurate. Joe Mixon, 10 attempts for 2 yards. These guys are like Oprah.
Over that.
This offensive line is like Obama's immigration policy. Let everybody through. Alex Erickson, though, on the other hand, is a star in the making. You heard it here first. 14 targets, 8 receptions. Yeah. 137 yards. Fantastic. Pro Bowl? Probably. Jags take this one 27-17 as the Bengals take another loss at home and drop 2-0-7.
Next, we head to Detroit as the Vikings are going on the road to take on the Lions. Kirk Cousins, another big game. 337 yards and 4 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, another MVP-like game. 25 attempts, 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs staying hot, 7 receptions, 142 yards. Matthew Stafford, on the other hand, had a very good game. 364 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Danny Amendola, 8 receptions, 105 yards, and the Vikings go to 5-2 as they beat the Lions 42-30.
This Chargers team is hard to watch. Ryan Tannehill gets the start for the Titans this week. You'd think a team with the talent of the Chargers would be able to handle this team for once at least. No. I don't know how they do it. This team was supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, and they dropped to 2-5 after a 3-point loss where they let Ryan Tannehill throw for 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, of course, literally catches every pass. 7 receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown. But clearly that wasn't enough to lead them past Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. And the Chargers dropped to 2-5.
Next, we head to Chicago as the Bears host the Saints. Mitchell Trubisky actually doing something. He didn't throw a pick. 251 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the Saints side of things, Teddy Bridgewater is a legend. 281 yards and 2 touchdowns. Latavius Murray, 27 attempts, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It sounds like I'm saying 2 touchdowns a lot. And Michael Thomas, 9 receptions, 131 yards. And guess what? Oh, sorry, he didn't have 2 touchdowns. He didn't account for any touchdowns. But he's still a legend because he's Michael Thomas. And Teddy Bridgewater remains undefeated as the Saints take this one 36-25 on the road to go to 6-1.
We head to CenturyLink Field in a matchup between 2 electric quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. Lamar Jackson is electrifying, throwing for 143 in the air while also running for 116 and a touchdown on the ground. He is the most valuable player to this team, and I don't know what they'd do without him. Marcus Peters, the newly acquired cornerback from the Rams, with a pick 6 in his first game. And Russell Wilson struggles, only throwing for 241 yards and a touchdown, while also that pick, as I said. This Ravens defense finally held someone down, and they take a big win into the bye week, 30-16.
Next, we head to Dallas as the Cowboys host the Eagles. And Dak Prescott still can't get back on track, only throwing for 239 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Zeke going off, 22 attempts, 111 yards, and a touchdown, getting back to his normal self. Amari Cooper hauling in 5 receptions, 106 yards, helping the Cowboys to a 27-point win over the Eagles. But guess what? The Eagles aren't that good. The Cowboys' 4 wins have all come to not very good teams. People are saying that they are a Super Bowl contender after this game, but they have not beat a good team yet. These Cowboys fans are getting on my nerves. The Cowboys are not that good. Leave me alone, Cowboys fans.
The MVP goes down, and so does my fantasy team. Patrick Mahomes dislocates his knee on a QB sneak. Unfortunate. Best of luck and prayers go out to him. But Matt Moore held it down the best he could, coming in, throwing 10 of 19, 117 yards and a touchdown. Joe Flacco just continues to not get anything going for this team. It might be Drew Lock's time soon. And the Broncos take an absolute pounding from the Chiefs, losing 30-6 and dropping to 2-5 while the Chiefs go to 5-2.
Next, we head to our Team of the Week segment, and we have to give it to the Baltimore Ravens, as Lamar Jackson is crazy. Not through the air, because he's a running back. In the quarterback position. In the air, he went 9 for 20 for only 143 yards.
With 7 drops.
But the rushing game is what makes the Ravens really good. They practically have 3 running backs, in Lamar Jackson, Mark Ingram, and Gus Edwards. Lamar Jackson, the leading rusher from the quarterback position, practically a running back. 14 attempts, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Mark Ingram, 12 attempts for 46 yards, and Gus Edwards, 8 attempts for 35 yards. But that's not even what stood out this game. Their defense stood out this game, forcing Russell Wilson's first interception of the season. And it's week 7. Marcus Peters coming over from the Rams, getting the pick 6, as he's the first player in NFL history to record a pick 6 in the same season from 2 different teams. He's a legend. The Ravens go to 5-2 as they beat the Seahawks 30-16.
Aaron Rodgers. Absolutely no arguing that he was this week's Player of the Week. Completing 25 of his 31 passes for 429 yards and 5 touchdowns with absolutely no receivers to his name. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jimmy Graham, Jordan Kumaro, Aaron Jones, and Jamal Williams. Imagine what he could have done with Devontae Adams as a weapon, too, this game. A perfect passer rating for the first time in his career. And his dominant game led his team to a 42-24 win over the Oakland Raiders. And that's a wrap for Week 7. I'm Nick Sinafani.
I'm Brenden Garula.
And we'll be back next week to recap all of Week 8's news and scores.